right. Hey, everybody. Hey, back again. Looks like we're live. And, oh God, things look to be functioning correctly after the previous debacles. My water is elsewhere, so you'll have to get the ASMR water and tea sipping from the tea only. Today, I've got green tea on board. Let's get that going. Cheers. Woo, still hot. Yeah, green tea makes me kind of like jumpy a little bit, as if, I'm not already all over the place. So we'll see how that goes. And for scents for this, I've got the whiskey candle again. Nice little black votive. Yesterday for Clutch, we did a whiskey honey candle, but today this one's just whiskey. Ugh. Another one that's part of the special man collection, whatever the hell that means. I was like, dude, is whiskey only for men? It's never been the case. So good. Okay, so that's lit in honor of today, because we are going to be talking about the album The Elephant Riders by Clutch, which was produced by a former teacher of mine who sadly has just passed away, Jack Douglas. I decided today that I wanted to go like full on rock and roll. Yesterday for Clutch, I did a long sleeve version of the shirt with the guitar on it, which I'm sure you guys saw. And then I was like digging through my stuff. I'm like, what am I going to do today? I want to stay with this rock and roll theme. And I found a short sleeve version of the exact same shirt. Because why do you, there's more shirts in the closet that are the exact same shirt and like different sizes and long sleeve and short sleeves. Like, how many do you need? This is what I'm saying. You need as many versions as possible of Concrete Blonde's Bloodletting album cover on shirts, because that goes with everything. It's like, the red roses. For the makeup, I wanted to go full rock and roll. I was feeling, it's a little lit up, it looks like here, but like I was feeling some black eyeshadow and like a nude lip, so we could just get like rock and roll with it. That's what, no reason really. I don't know. I was just kind of inspired to do some guitar rock stuff. A look like that. And my hair has a mind of its own, as usual. So, okay. Yeah, no, this is going to be, I'm hoping that it can be a tribute to Mr. Jack Douglas, because he was a nice guy. He was nice to me in the little bit that I was around him. I didn't, we weren't BFF. I have become friends with some of my former teachers. I would consider them friends in that way. It was like, we just didn't naturally happen, I suppose. But he's one of those guys that it's like, you kind of just look at him from afar on a pedestal. I mean, there are people who know him and are friends with him, but, that wasn't the case. But I really respect him and his work, and I want to try to do it justice by talking about it, just bringing attention to it for one, and critiquing it with my opinion. And it's like, that's what it is. It's an opinion. And it's like, who are you to do that, right? Especially to somebody who formerly taught you. But, I think this is what keeps it alive, because we do this because we love this stuff. I did it because I loved it. Jack, I'm sure you have to be. He said that. I'm just remembering just now. Oh man. He said that one time when we were in class. He was like, if you want to do this for a living, you have to be obsessed with it. He's like, you don't understand. It's hard. It's a hard life. And it is like, you know, I would agree with that sentiment. You have to be obsessed. I mean, and we are the people who do this. I mean, we're weirdos, man. We're weird. You can see me. I'm an eccentric fool. Like, I could spend a lot of time thinking about the sounds of things. It's just like, well, you can spend a lot of time thinking about other things and you just don't. Like, I recently bought this house. And I mean, they have got to think I am just the dumbest person in the world. Like I've been living in cities in apartments for 20 years, more than 20 years. And every little thing I've got to learn about all these repairs and stuff. And I mean, they would just look at me blankly like, oh my God, how do you not know about this, right? It's like, because I need to be in a basement somewhere talking about guitars. Like, I don't care about the lawn. I really don't, man. I don't want to touch any plants. I like nature. I like being outside, but like, I'm not fretting about the lawn. I just don't. But I am going to fret about the elephant riders because that's the sort of stuff that I care about and respect. So, all right. If you guys caught that short little live from last night that I had to come on and do, or else I was going to have a mini heart attack. At some point, I realized that, this is so me, just very on brand of my ditziness at times. Like, I went back to spot check some of my previous live videos, and I realized, because I started listening in little like earbuds, that only the left channel had picked up in my audio. So it's like, okay, great, really good look for me. I'm like picking apart albums and stuff. I wasn't very nice to Clutch's Pure Rock Fury, and then I go back to listen to it and it's like, well, you doofus. It's only in the left ear. I was like, of course. So, all right, no problem. I can fix that. Give me time. If you can see me propped up here, I do have a little elbow injury. Of course, from like overuse of the computer and playing guitar. Nobody's shocked by that either. So it just takes a little extra time if I have to actually go back and edit something. And I will have to pull. No, I'm not going to pull them off the live tab, but I'll have to pull the recordings that I've done of these shows, put them into Premiere, my video editing software, and double up the one channel and then reprint it and post it back. So it's going to be their first 5 will be again on the regular tab of just like regular videos. But if you're listening to these live shows, the first 5 back through like an iPad or an iPhone, it's going to come through just fine. Like you probably won't notice. Or I don't know. Maybe you don't care either way. So, but yeah, that'll take some time, but that'll be done. Yeah. This live stream might be a longer one just because I want to like give it some breathing room, I want to like really sit and think about. This album, I wanted to do respect and service to Jack Douglas's work, so I really went through every single track and listened to all of them and tried to write down, all of my little thoughts for whatever they're worth. So there's that. And then, I want to take a minute, like, just not talking for an hour straight, but to like feel my feelings about this and just, really just have the memories of it. And I'll share those with you guys. So, yeah. As far as the mistake that I had about the previous audio only being in the left ear, um, you know, that's okay. I explained it all in that previous live, so if you want to go watch that, I took it as an opportunity to like explain the troubleshooting of streaming live and little issues that can come up with your audio and how to fix it. So I'm glad we got to address that. And the difference with me in being, an older person at this point, at least older than I was back when I did this for work, is like I give myself grace now. And I give other people a lot of grace and the benefit of the doubt because, like, look at what I just did. It was like, I know what I'm doing, and I still did that. And it's just like, so, I say that because I didn't give myself grace back in the day. I was very, very hard on myself. And it led like to a buildup of a lot more self-punishment and anxiety. I think that really led to like burnout in doing sound. It really had it turn into something that had started out as a passion and something that I love to do into something that like became a real anxiety producing burden. It was like, why, you don't want to do that with something that you love and that's fun, right? But I got to the point, I've had moments where like, I'm like standing there mixing, artists that are known with like producer right behind me looking over my shoulder. It's just like I'm sweating and the adrenaline that you have in those situations when you have to perform. For one thing, like if you do live sound, you gotta love that. Like you love. I naturally do. I kind of like being on the spot and under pressure. In the profession that I transitioned into after doing sound was very much like same kind of like high pressure. You have to get it right and you only have one shot and there's no other option. You kind of have to like sickly love that anyway to begin with. Because really, there is no other option. Like you have to get it right. When they say the show must go on, it's like literally the show has to go on and you have to fix it no matter what it is. So like you better freaking know how to fix it because like, but all that to say, I think that this is what makes me really a great person to be able to share my experiences and teach that stuff at this point. Purely because I have made every mistake that a person could possibly make in public in front of everyone doing sound. Like, I mean, you could probably list all of them. And I'm like, I've done that. I've done that. I've done that. From like the dumbest little things that you panic and your mind like goes elsewhere and forgets to more complex, like super crazy complex routing and stuff. Like I remember, what happened with the one channel on this is similar to like I remember one time I was doing a show and I'm not getting any sound like to the main speakers. I'm checking everything. I'm just like, what is happening? You're going through every freaking channel. You're like, is everything turned out? It's like something secretly like globally muted somewhere. What and the shit is happening? And finally I like, this is what you do. You're like, all right, everybody take a break. Okay. Okay. Send them off. Everybody takes a break. And then you call a friend, phone a friend, you know. I went out in the hall and I phoned one of my buddies and I'm just like, oh my God, dude, I'm doing a show right now. Can you help me? Like, I'm going to describe all of this to you. And then you tell me, okay, okay. So we would all call each other. And then it was like just silence. And he was deadpanned. He was like, did you assign it to the stereo bus? And I was like, oh my God. And then he started busting out laughing at me. It's like, you idiot. Anyway, for if you don't know about this stuff, that is essentially, it's the equivalent of pressing like one button, like one dumb little button that puts everything out your main speakers. It's like, I didn't press a little button. Like sometimes you do that stuff, you know, you're under pressure and it's intense. Yeah. So I have made every mistake possible, which gives me the ability, you know, to be able to teach this stuff really well, hopefully. And speaking of teachers, this is a good transition to talk about one of my former teachers, Jack Douglas, who did this album by Clutch, The Elephant Riders, among many other things. He was a producer on this album. And let's look at this album because I noticed right off when I looked at it is like, look at that second paragraph. It was produced by Jack Douglas. It's like, man, he really got his name right there and all of his credits. Or I don't know if it was him that did that. Or maybe it was them. Somebody did that, but they made for dang sure that we knew this was a Jack Douglas album. And I didn't actually know that. You know, I knew that he had done The Who and Aerosmith. And of course, he talked about John Lennon, you know, in his lectures and everything. But like this one, I just stumbled on naturally. Like I bought the album and then I'm reading all the little liner notes. I bought the CD and I'm like, oh my God. Look at that. Who knew that? Yeah, who knows what other? Well, we can find out by looking at his page. I don't know. Maybe he's done other little secret awesome stuff that we don't know about. So, all right. So we're going to talk about who Jack was, what he's done. I will share my memories of my short time learning from him. We're going to talk about this album, The Elephant Riders by Clutch. Like I said, I've gone through every track. And you know, it can be difficult talking about my thoughts analysis wise on the different tracks, especially if like you knew somebody, especially if they've just passed. It's like I do not obviously want to be rude, living or having just passed away. But I feel like, you know, what kind of analysis / opinion would I be able to have or really put forth? If everything I did on all of these videos was just like a bunch of praise, that's not helpful, you know, to not respectfully critique things. And I think, you know, anybody who does all of this stuff professionally, it's like they would appreciate respectful feedback and thoughts on it. You get to a certain point where it's like, you know, you can take your ego, hopefully, you can take your ego out of it. And also, you know, I mean, as we all know, art is subjective. There's a lot of subjectivity and personal preference that goes into it. And there's a lot of styles that change over the years. You know, things that may have been mixed or recorded ways back in the day. There's limitations to equipment that you might have. And preferences change over the years. There's some things, The first example that comes to mind right now is like a few years ago, we were doing these crazy, like long drowned and reverbed mixes where I'm just like, why does everything sound like we're like on a tropical island right now? Just, I noticed that, the style of the times. So you don't know what it's ever going to change into. As far as Clutch goes, the reason that I wanted to do Pure Rock Fury yesterday as an album is because I didn't want to have to jump into this, talk about who Clutch is, their instrumentation, and all of that type of stuff, especially if I was going to talk more about Mr. Jack. So, yesterday, if you catch that live show, we talked about who Clutch is as a band, where they're from, the genres that they, sort of tend to occupy, the instrumentation, which I did learn reading a little bit more because I was like, it seems like there should be 5 people in this band. It's like, well, Neil Fallon also plays rhythm guitar. I was like, duh, there you go. Yeah. We listed Clutch's discography, went down, listed every album. And then we went through Pure Rock Fury, which I had to rip up a bit. I felt bad about it, but it's like it had to be done, man. So we're going to skip all of that, like talking about Clutch. So let's talk about Jack Douglas. Yeah. Here he is right here. How did I know him? Know him as if he would remember me. I doubt it, but I'll tell you. Okay. My education. He was a teacher of mine because I have 2 bachelor's degrees. Who does that, for one? I have a degree in mass communication, which was a lot of radio and television stuff. So broadcast media. It was a lot of video editing. It was a lot of stand-up, doing the news. It was, a lot of history of, I wrote a paper on the Telecommunications Act of 1996. It was a lot about like radio frequencies and AM and FM modulation and all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of like more theoretical, I would say. And I noticed at the end of it, like really nothing about audio, not too much. Like I didn't get what I was looking for in that respect. It was a university degree. So I remember when we were, in the little makeshift studio that we had there at school, the only thing that I really, was taught about audio was like we had our little mixing board and somebody's like doing the news in the other room. We had our cameras and everything. So like, Kate, it's your day to run the audio for this news broadcast. Okay. And then there's a teacher standing next to me. And I'm like, well, this obviously needs to be louder. Of course. And he's like, no, don't ever go over 0. Don't ever go over unity gain. I was like, okay, well, why? We did not discuss that. It's like, these things really should have at least, I feel, have more information. And so when I got out of school the first time, I realized, I needed more about audio. I wanted to do audio, like specifically. So I wanted to specialize in this. I wanted to do more music stuff. And there was just so much that like was lacking and I didn't know. Like my internship for my first degree was on a movie set. And the sound guy came, he drove over from Florida and he brought like an entire van slash truck full of equipment. And was supposed to be like his intern because it was the stuff that I was interested in. And so I stood in a room with him, and he had like ceiling to floor all of his equipment that he had brought with him. And I remember he was like, "Oh, you're into this stuff. You know about this stuff." I'm like, "Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah." I'm trying to be cool. And this guy, I think his name was Ron. I might be wrong about that. But he started rattling off like all of his equipment that he had for this movie set. Just, like every little piece of it. And it goes from this to this frequency to this frequency. And I realized quickly, like, I had no freaking idea what he was talking about. I was trying to lie. I was like, "Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, okay." It's like, no idea. And so I realized I really needed a lot more education in this respect if I was going to take this anywhere audio wise. So this led me out to California, where I got another degree specifically in audio. I have a 4-year degree, Bachelor of Applied Science in Sound Arts in audio. And at that school that I went to, this is where Jack Douglas, the producer of this album, was teaching. So that is how I knew him and got taught by him. He was my teacher, but not until the very, very end of my schooling. Because, since he had so many credits to his name, you don't really get to be taught by somebody like Jack Douglas until you get to the very end. You got to make it through all of the other stuff. And then the classes that he taught were, not that many. Like, you don't get much time with somebody with these types of credits either. You're there for the time that you're with them, and you try to soak up as much as you can, and that's it. So, yeah. So what I likened him to when I was like thinking about him was have you guys ever seen that show Say Yes to the Dress? He's like he's like the English version of Say Yes to the Dress, where that one is done with David Emmanuel. And if you don't know who that is, he's the guy who designed Princess Diana's wedding dress. And so, he has that credit to his name, and forever until the end of freaking time. Like, David Emmanuel has to do nothing else because he designed Princess Diana's dress. And he's just like, "Oh, hello, darling. My name is David Emmanuel. Yes, oh, lovely to see you. Well, why don't you come over there and you come sit with me and come on, let's, you know, um, now Jack is a similar sort of thing. He didn't just do the one big thing. He did, multiple great things. And but since he did accomplish those things, it's like until the end of time, he really like he could have just shown up in class and sat there. He didn't he did, he was the guy who worked with John Lennon. Like, whoa, very impressive. Um so, he's paid his dues and he's done his things and he's gotten his accolades and respected, uh, until the end for that. So, I'll share my memories of the time that I was learning from him. So, yeah. Um, yeah, like I said, it was a short lived time when you finally get to that point at the end of your schooling, it's like you're tired, you know? I mean, I would have labs in the middle of the night from like midnight to 4 a.m. all the time. And it's something that you knew was going to happen and you look forward to being taught by somebody who was like such a respected professional. So you're nervous. You know, you're nervous. I was very excited and nervous and didn't know what to expect. I was intimidated. Um, and I knew that to be around somebody like of this caliber, I had to I wanted him to like me, you know, like desperately. I wanted to like impress him. I want him to like me. I just want to like, I don't know, just make any sort of impression on somebody like that. And so I remember having classes with him. I don't remember much of like what he actually said, except what I said in the beginning that you have to be obsessed with this stuff. True, I would concur. But I do remember the sessions that I had because we would have, you know, like lectures where talking and teaching about things. And then we would have recording sessions where like artists who are around the city or anybody who really wanted to come in, you know, would sign up to do these recording sessions for like our educational purposes in the studios. And we would record them and we would get practice. And in exchange, they would get a free recording of their stuff. So, you know, Jack was there in the background while we ran the session and, you know, he watched us. He didn't like hover, but he just, you know, he was just there, reading a newspaper. He was just kind of hanging out, you know. At this point, like in your education, you know what you're doing. Like you don't really need somebody to hold your hand anymore. So he was kind of just hanging out. And in this particular session, the musician that had come in to the studio, he was obviously like very nervous too. I don't know if he knew who Jack Douglas was. In fact, I don't think he did. Um, I think he just was like, honestly, he was like intoxicated and very much so. Like he was on a lot of uppers and it was annoying me, man. Like I couldn't deal with it. And so, you know, I mean, look, if you're in this business and on a kind of professional level, like you're going to be around people who have substance abuse problems and you have to kind of just like pretend it's not happening and just deal with them for exactly, you know, whatever they are. But it was so extreme that like I couldn't ignore what was happening because the guy was just all over the place. So I'm just like thinking, oh my God, dude, this, like, I get my chance with like Jack Douglas in the room and I get this freaking guy. Like, what am I supposed to do with this? You know? So like, you know, now I'd probably behave differently, but like, I couldn't even pretend. It was so annoying. Like, I just kept like rolling my eyes and then I would like look over at Jack, like, dude, you know, and I expected him to have some sort of reaction and he just had none. And I was like, okay, well, fine. I mean, um, I'll just have to deal with it. And then, you know, somebody else, a friend of mine was there in the session with me. And at some point, the guy was having trouble like with his performance and, he needed like something else, some sort of support, like on the song or whatever. And so, you know, my friend stepped up and he was like, if you want to, Kate can sing on this. So do you want to have like any extra backup or any other vocals with it? And, that was what I did. Like I would sing on anything, anything. that you asked me to, I'd probably, like, if I was standing there, I'd do it now. I have sang on people's demos for a beer and a slice of pizza, whatever. Especially at the top of my game, like, I mean, I'm a little out of practice at this point, but like, okay, sure. And the guy agreed. So now I'm really excited. I'm just like, oh my God, I get to sing in front of Jack Douglas. Yes. So, like, okay, very nervous though. And I went in with the guy and I'm like, did a few takes standing behind him and getting to sing. And then I'll never forget, like, I walked into the other room and Jack, who had spent the whole freaking session, like, reading a newspaper, he looked up from his newspaper and he put it down and he looked at me and he was like, "You have a very beautiful voice, my dear." And I was just like, oh my God. I felt like, somebody had finally noticed. I felt very happy and excited about that and grateful. So that was nice. And then after that, I was like, okay, I got to ride this wave. Jack Douglas has noticed my existence. Like, we got to do something. So my first album, which is called Layers, we were working on it. Me and my guitar player were working on it at the time. And, afterwards we got together and we're like, dude, this is our chance. We've got to give Jack Douglas our demo. Like, can you do it? And we're like, I don't know. Do you think that's rude? Do you think that, like, he won't like it? You're just questioning all of this stuff. Like, is that inappropriate? Because we're here to learn. So, like, are we, supposed to take advantage of him being here? Like, that might be horrible. But we decided, like, fuck it, we were gonna do it. Because, like, if you have a chance, you have to take it. So we prepared our little demo of the first three songs on Layers. And it was on a little CD, and we put a little insert, like, printed out with the name and the email address and phone number. And, like, then we have another session with Jack. And I don't remember anything about this one. I remember standing in the control room, and I don't remember because my mind was not on that. My mind was on, when is the best moment that seems completely natural and, like, not at all contrived to casually hand this demo to Jack Douglas. And, like, you guys can see my personality. Like, we really weren't hiding a damn thing. My guitar player, he's just kind of got these, like, crazy, he's very intelligent and he's got these, like, crazy intense eyes as well as me. So the whole time, both he and I are, like, looking at each other and, like, sweating. And then we're in the back, like, nervous. And like, okay, so we're acting weird, And Jack Douglas is not new to the scene. Like, he could tell that we were trying to do something. Like, it was obvious. And then he could really tell. And he was, like, clearly trying to actively avoid us at some point, because we were, like, just trying to approach him and being weird about it. And then finally, my guitar player, he was like, I was like, I can't do it. You do it. And so he had it. And right at the end of the session, he was like, hi, I just wanted to give this to you and see if you would think about listening to it. And Jack was like, oh, okay. All right. Thanks. And put it. And then, I mean, he ducked out of that session like he was avoiding the plague. He clearly was not trying to and why? It's like, people probably did this to him all the time. Like, I'm not the first person to think of this stuff. He probably, you could tell people are being weird. They're trying to get you to listen to something. And we never heard anything on that. I don't know if he listened to it. I don't know if he immediately chucked it in the trash. I don't know if it's sitting somewhere in a pile of multiple thousands upon thousands of other things that people have given to him. I don't know if he listened to it and I just accidentally deleted my email address and maybe he thought it was the greatest thing in the world and I'm an idiot and I'll never know. But I will say if he did, even if he didn't listen to it, it didn't matter because okay, yeah, you have a beautiful voice, my dear. All right, true. What does that translate to? What does that even mean? And I just didn't have a lot of things that would be required to be a part of anything. I don't know what I expected to happen for one. But also I didn't have the maturity, I think, even though I was 29. But I just didn't have the maturity to have any sort of ongoing long career singing. I didn't have the look. I just wasn't really, I didn't take care of myself as well as I should have. And so I had all these things going against me. And also I didn't have the persistence. Excuse me. I was thinking about that this morning. It's like me at 29, I was very nervous, afraid, and I really, really wanted somebody to like me. Now, I think me at, I'm 47 now. Me at 47, thinking about how I would react in that situation at this point, I think there's a certain amount of nervousness that anybody is going to naturally have, no matter what. I'll probably still be nervous. But my goals and my aims in life are not the same. I don't have stars in my eyes. I don't expect anyone to come and want to sign me at 50. Because y'all don't even know, I ain't getting on any kind of tour bus. I'm not going places. I'm not leaving my cats. This shit is not happening. As sure as hell, I'm not staying up till 2 or 3 a.m. to perform shows and stuff. No. So it's a kind of lifestyle that I would not want. So, there's less pressure there. Also, I've already done a lot of this stuff. I did sound, in a lot of different venues and everything. There's a life experience that I've already fulfilled a lot of my dreams. So something that's just not necessary anymore. But I would say if it was something that I wanted to pursue, another difference I would have now, and take my advice, you guys, if you want this, is I had Jack Douglas's email address. There was nothing special about me. He gave it to everyone. That was his student. And he wanted people to send him examples of things that they had done, or I don't know. I mean, we had his email address. It was now I'm 47. I just don't, I'm at the age where I look at people over my reading glasses like this. I was dude, I don't give a crap. I would have emailed that guy every 3 days for the next 5 years. If it was something I actually wanted, I would have been hi, Jack, just checking in with you again. Did you happen to listen to my demo? I just wanted to explain to you about these songs and why they really are meaningful to me and exactly what we did in writing this with the guitars, with the lyrics, where I think this could fit in. What kind of genre is it? It was like, you need a blurb. Spotify wants this now if you're promoting your stuff to them. You need a blurb and needs to be very short. Do not write a freaking novel. It's got to be a bullet point or 2 or 3. This is why you should like this. This is why you should listen to it. This is why it's meaningful. This is what it's going to do for you and an audience. Tell people, sell it, tell people. Like, I just didn't, I didn't have a kind of foresight or knowledge to do something like that. So, it wasn't done. It's my bad. All right. Okay. Yeah. The stream, like I said, it's going to be a long one. So now we're going to talk about Jack Douglas right here. We're going to go through his Wikipedia page and just like read some things about him because, in tribute, I just know like the highlights that he touched on and other people always mentioned, but I don't know a lot of this stuff I'm just glancing at. So, I'm curious. Let's find out. Who is this guy? Who is Jack Douglas? What does his Wikipedia page say about him? I will say, you see that picture right there? That's exactly what I remember him looking like all the time. I imagine, he's one of these people who has an outfit like a Mark Zuckerberg. Jack Douglas may only own one shirt because like that blue denim shirt, that's the only thing I ever remember him wearing. And here he is again wearing it in this picture. So, all right, here we go. John Anthony Douglas was an American record producer. He was known for his work with John Lennon and Yoko Ono, Patti Smith, Cheap Trick, and the New York Dolls. Among other rock artists during the 1970s and 80s, he produced 4 successful albums for Aerosmith. Oh, okay. I only thought he did 1. So that's different. 4 successful albums. Okay. Born in New York City, trained at the Institute of Audio Research, and was a member of its first graduating class. Started out as a folk musician. Didn't know that. Worked on Robert F. Kennedy's 1964 senatorial campaign as a songwriter. Okay. Moved to England and joined a succession of bands before returning to New York to attend the Institute of Audio Research. Okay. His first professional job was at the then new record plant. We've heard of that. As a studio janitor. Yeah, I mean, this is what you got to do. I've had friends that have done stuff like that. It was like, if you want to be a part of something, that's my advice. Like, go to where you want to be a part of and tell them, I will do wherever you want to put me. I want to be here and I want to be a part of this. I will do whatever you need. I will empty the trash cans. I will clean the toilets. Then you assess me and see where I can best fit what you're looking for. What do you need? So clearly, he knew to do that. Soon he was working at the recording desk, so at the mixing board, as an engineer, contributing to projects by Miles Davis, James Gang, Alice Cooper, Cheap Trick, Montrose, Rough Cut, Artful Dodger, Moxie, Flip, and Mountain. Okay. Helped engineer The Who's 1971 record plant sessions for the aborted Lifehouse project. Yeah, Who's Next? He contributed to that album. I knew that. Oh, Douglas was then given the opportunity to engineer John Lennon's album Imagine in 1971. This is the big one. This is his David Emanuel, Princess Diana moment, you know. They formed a close bond, working together for the remainder of Lennon's life. Yeah. Okay. Working relationships with Patti Smith, Blue Oyster Cult, the New York Dolls, Cheap Trick, Stars, and most notably Aerosmith. Okay, here's the Aerosmith albums. Get Your Wings, Toys in the Attic. That's the one I knew about. Rocks and Draw the Line. Okay. Okay. Oh, he was a musical contributor to Aerosmith. I didn't know that. Okay. Joe Perry's solo albums. Working again on that. Okay. In 1980, Douglas was working as a producer with John Lennon and Yoko Ono on their Double Fantasy album, for which he shared a Grammy Award for Album of the Year. Okay. All right. Good job. Good job. Excellent. Oh, yeah. He was working on the project when John Lennon's murder cut it short. Oh, he opened litigation with Yoko Ono over unpaid royalties from Double Fantasy. Okay. Wonder if he ever. Oh, no, here we go. A jury ruled that Ono had wrongfully withheld royalty payments. Woo! And he was entitled to $2.5 million from revenues for Double Fantasy. Oh, wow. I did not know this. All right. Subsequently, Douglas worked as an engineer and producer, producing albums for artists such as Supertramp, Zebra, Clutch, Local H, Slash's Snake Pit, Black Rain, and in 2006, The Return of the New York Dolls. Douglas also taught a studio etiquette class at, right here, baby, where I got my degree, the Expression College of Digital Arts, which for me, people have had different experiences with the school. A lot of people have a lot of crap to talk about it. Everybody has their own experience. I had a great time. I had the best, oh my God. I had like some of the best years and experiences of my life. I'm telling you, when I was sitting there in 2007 and I started my beginning recording classes, it was like everything about audio that I ever wanted to know. And it was like I was giddy. I was ecstatic, like at school, I mean, there was a lot of personal stuff for me going on in the background, but it's like, as far as the audio experience went, man, I know the school was bought out by different owners, and then it transitioned into, I believe, the same company that owns Full Sail, and then they say it like went downhill after that, and it closed its door. The pandemic closed its doors like 2020 or 21. So you can't go to school there anymore, unfortunately. But I went to school there when it was named this, like this, with the apostrophe and expression. And It was not SAE expression. It was before the buyout. And man, I had a wonderful time. Really, like, best time. All right. So Jack Douglas was married twice and had 4 children, 2 daughters and 2 sons. And they've updated this correctly. Thank you. To say that he has passed away from complications of lymphoma 12 days ago at the age of 80. May he rest in peace. And thank you. Thank you, Mr. Jack Douglas. There's a lot of things he could have said to me that were rude about the way I was behaving in that session that I was in, that like maybe it wasn't as professional or something like that. But he was complimentary and nice to me. We didn't have that much interaction, personally, but I respect him and his work very much, and I am appreciative to have had those experiences with him. And there are memories for me that, as long as I am able to remember things, I won't forget. So thank you, Mr. Jack Douglas. Now, let's rip something that he's done apart. Oh, God, no. No, okay. But I do want to talk about this album by Clutch that he produced called The Elephant Riders. Boom. There we are. Hi. Hello. All right. Elephant. This album was released on April 14th, 1998. And I was listening to the 1998 version that is streaming. I listened to it on Spotify, and I listened to it through my glorious JBLs over here to really try to get everything that I possibly could out of it. Just glancing at this down here, it says The Elephant Riders is out of print. Well, my friends, here it is right here. It's not out of print on my house. Oh, God. Yeah, I try to get everything on CD that I possibly... I like CDs. Some people are big, like, record people. I like CDs. It's probably just my age, I do like a good CD. But, all right, let's see. Let's go back to... Yeah, Clutch's discography. So this would be their 3rd album. The Elephant Riders was, 1998. This is like earlier in their career. This is like 5 years they've been releasing albums here. Okay. I'm going to go into my analysis of it before I read anything so it doesn't sort of poison my thoughts on it. I'll let's see what we've got here. Okay, so yeah, turning this on, my immediate thought was, in my mind, I'm already comparing this to yesterday's Pure Rock Fury, which actually turned out to be like a huge disappointment. Man, I really wish I didn't want to say that because like that, I loved that album. But when I got deep in there and started to like dig into Pure Rock Fury, I was like, wow, this mix sounds like shit. Like, ooh. But when I got to Elephant Riders, okay. I felt relieved because I didn't want to say that about Jack Douglas. Immediately I'm like, all right, this is better. And I immediately in this album got that stoner rock vibe. Like some of their other stuff, you've got more like hard rock. You've got like more bluesy licks right up front. But I would say for this one, the The first song starts, you're like, oh, stoner rock, no, heavy riffs. The kick drum, as compared to pure rock fury, sounds much better. It's got like a deeper thump to it. And I immediately thought, like, why haven't I listened to this album more? Because I haven't. I have not listened to it that much. Like, I don't know the songs to sing along to. I literally have maybe only listened to it once. So, yeah. First song, let's get into the track list. Here we go. Okay. First song, The Elephant Riders. Something that I noted on this one, listen at 2 minutes and 13 seconds. That effect on that snare roll that was done, I was like, this is awesome. It has like subtle panning, and then it has an opening up of the EQ and back down again. It's like an EQ sweep. And so it creates the effect. It sounds like it's flying past you in a car. So these are the sorts of things that you can do with audio, is to create that effect. And I noticed that was good. Liked it. Yeah. Stoner rock genre. The guitars are very smooth. The distortion is tight. Like I talked about pure rock fear, Clutch in general. Talked about that yesterday. It's not like fizzy fuzz distortion that's like breaking up all over everything. It's very tight and controlled distortion. Nothing really on this album at the level volume wise that I was listening to sounded really in your face, except again, I'm gonna have to go with the criticism here. Just like Pure Rock Fury, the kick and the snare, they're too much in your face. That's my opinion. This is my own like personal taste. I know people do that. You got to hear the kick and the snare. That's like audio engineer 101, I guess. But in this case, it's too much, like compared to everything else. Now, I don't know if Jack Douglas mixed this. Like, it just said he produced it. So I'm not exactly sure if he was the one. But it is what it is. Okay, so song 2, Ship of Gold. There I noticed there's that panning effect on the vocal again that was done again like that. And then I noted, yeah, this is a subtle, pure, old school good mix. The guitars are tightly distorted and smooth, and it reminds me of a Led Zeppelin record. What do I mean by that? Oh God, I know. I gotta try to come up with like these descriptors and adjectives, right? A lot of times, like, you want, especially for Clutch, like in old rock records, like you want everything to be separately audible. You know what I mean? Like you can hear each instrument. And so it tends to like have, in a sense, like less glue to it. And that's what I noticed for this too. Like yeah, since it's old school, my criticisms are just that. And this is how styles can change. So on this album, the bass guitar gets lost. Partly because the tone, like, and that is maybe a choice by the band. The bassist wants that bass guitar to have that like sort of more plucky, like higher end tone to it. That doesn't have that huge boomy bottom. So like it's gonna, get lost at times if that's not as represented. And that, yeah. Especially because if a lot of the riffs that Clutch does, the bass follows the guitar exactly. So like it's easy, if you've got it playing the exact same thing and it's not like occupying so much of that bass range, it's going to get lost by that guitar a little bit and covered up. And that's this is exactly what I need more on this album. More low mid. This is like the danger zone, right? The place where the mud can be and all of the stuff that clogs everything up. And I think that's why, especially when you're mixing and EQing things, if you want things to sound like very distinct and separate from each other, you're going to like have extreme subtractive EQing where you're taking out all of that mud and all of those like mid, but at times you can overdo it, you know? And then like you don't have anything left. So the vocal on this album, and on all Clutch's albums, Neil has a lot of doubling. So what is that? He's singing, and then he does another track where he's singing the exact same thing, either a different delivery with a different sort of like graveliness, different effect. And when you play those two back together, providing that he has done the delivery, at the same moments, it gives like more of a fullness to it. And it can be done to help people if their voice is like a little thinner or it's just not as like full and present enough. Like you're filling out that space with, and it just sounds good. It's pleasing to have like two varieties of something next to each other so that you can have that fuller sound. And so, he's got a lot of parts on a lot of his albums. His vocal is doubled a lot. Yeah. When I was listening to this at a lower level, volume wise, I noted that the vocal sounds too buried at parts. Like it's very smooth, it's stoner rock, so that's what it would be for the genre. There's parts that the vocal sounds like really buried, and there's parts where it sounds too much in your face. It's kind of like, it's a little, I don't want to say all over the place because it's not that bad, but I notice it. Yeah, EQ wise, the whole album, presence wise, when I turned it up, because I cranked it, I want to hear it at all levels of volume. Presence wise is like in your face, and it's a little much. It's a little much. I'm not gonna lie. And something that is lost is like all it's it's the low. It's not lost in like the kick drum is there. You've got that occupying something in the low end, but like you need more guitars, bigger guitars. Loudness wise, like right here when I'm listening to it at a lower level, right here, notably on track number 4, The Soap Makers, you have that guitar overdub at 9 seconds. And I was like, okay, loudness getting better. Cause I'm just like, this is the, good levels that I want to hear. But then the vocal comes in and it sort of like drops off. They're just like, oh, it's here's what it is. It's missing that modernization where we compress the shit out of everything. And you get hit in the face with it. Where like sometimes that's done and it doesn't go well. It's not a good idea. Sometimes it's done and it's freaking awesome. And if you do it correctly, and here's what came to mind, and now this is my comparison album to this. Queens of the Stone Age, Songs for the Deaf, Lullabies to Paralyze. Dude, I might do that one tomorrow. That is like big guitars, stoner rock, full on full. You can hear it filling up everything, and that's compression done correctly. The whole thing, I imagine, if you look at the waveform of all of those songs on Songs for the Deaf, besides something where like they're playing guitar, like acoustic guitars or something, it's got to look like a sausage. It's just like pummeling you. Now, that's an artistic choice. Like some people don't want to be pummeled constantly by something. For me, if we're talking stoner rock, there's a certain amount of like glue that needs to happen with it, a certain amount of compression. Like you want all of your ears and your body filled with that sound. Now, Clutch is a different band. You know, they are not Queens of the Stone Age. And they've got like a different style of playing, but they do have those big riffs. And like when those big riffs hit for Clutch, I want it to pummel me. Yeah. All right. And so then I wondered, because I was thinking about this album, like, okay, it's 1998, right? Is there a remastered version of the Elephant Riders? Because I was thinking, like, there are a couple of little, like, this is great. Like, they're just little baby tweaks that could be done that could give you more of that pummeling if somebody did that. I couldn't find that it's been remastered. Yeah. Like when I talked about Pure Rock Fury, my note was, forgive me. Like there's no amount of remastering that can help that thing. It just shouldn't be. You need to go back and redo the mix. But on this album, like this one's ready. It can be remastered, I think. You know, because it's freaking Jack Douglas. Like clearly he knows what he's doing. So yeah. And like this album, it's so good song wise. Big hit potentials they had with these guitars, like rock revival potential. Like, I'd tweak a couple of little things in the mix just for my own like preference. But can we remaster this and throw it back out there and be like, rock revival? Like, you guys, this is awesome. We love it. I bet you the new generation, if you hit them in the face with this album, they would love it. They really would. This is what I think. On track 6, Muchas Fichis. God, I'm sorry. I'm butchering that. On this one, I noted the bass is more audible. In fact, the whole track sounds different. We veered away from that muted smoothness here. The mix is different from the others. The vocal too is louder and the guitars are lost. I wrote, this is the example of a way not to adjust this. Don't adjust the trumpet, man. The songs with the trumpets, something was differently done to those. Because there's another song with the trumpet and the mix sounds completely different to me. Like the trumpet and the bass guitar on both of those, different. Yeah. One thing I do with this mix on the whole, and this is like a stylistic choice, you know, maybe the band doesn't want that, but like the snare, it just needs it's a personal preference. It needs more air. The snare and the cymbals need more air, and like the snare, it needs to sound tighter, like a cracking, you know, just more of a high pitched. I like to take a good dry. I like a good dry, like tight snare that's sort of like a militant, and then take that and then put reverb on that, and then it would be sitting way up here, cracking out all over the place, cutting through. But that's not the sound and the tone of the snare. I think, you know, I don't know. The drummer would probably hate me for adjusting that, but I would have wanted to change that. Yeah. I feel like something changed at this point in the album right around here. Track 7, Green Buckets. Its bass guitar and the vocal are stripped down. But that bass, if you play it and then turn the volume all the way down, you can hear that distortion like crackling in your speaker, not even all the way down. Like you can hear it. I don't know what happened there. But that's not good. It doesn't sound like a natural, like a pedal distortion or anything like that. It sounds like something was turned up too loud somewhere, something happened. Yeah. So I'm moving a little more to modernization with this track, but still the guitars are too buried. I mainly had the same comment for the whole album. Like, the guitar chords, they need to be bigger, present, fuller, low, mid, more. The cymbals on this track especially take some of that painful high out. This started to hurt me. My guess right now, I would immediately go to like 7K on these cymbals right here, on this track 7, and then see if I can take that out. It hurts. And then this bass, I don't know if that's like permanently printed like that on whatever they recorded on the tape, but like just take it and run the bass line by itself through an outboard compressor. Try to see if you can squash it and like get some of that stuff out and like level it a little bit. And then I just wrote that cymbal, no. Like, I don't know what I'm talking about there. Oh God. All right. Track 8, Wishbone. Okay, better than track 7. I noted the guitar licks and the vocal together. Good when the big riffs come in. Needs to be filled out. Same comment. Yeah, I want to feel them in my body. I just hear it in my ears. It's here. It's sitting here. I don't like feel it like here, you know? I want the rock. More snared cymbals. Needs more high end. Same comment. Let it sit up, you know? You want your cymbals to feel like they're up here, like over the top of your head, sitting in the air. The vocal sounds good until you get to the choruses. The choruses are very Nirvana. That's what it reminded me of. And I wanted to say, like, you know, let that gravel shine. Like it could be so much more Nirvana right there. I feel like it just could have been a little louder, and like again with the vocal, like not so much. They really focused on that gravelly part with like the high mids there, like maybe you know, more, and these are more lows. All right, Cracker Jack. Bass sounds great, trumpet great. Yeah, the snare, it does have reverb on it because I thought it needs reverb, but it's the ringing. It needs to be tighter. It needs to hit like cracking, same note. Guitar here, again, when it plays the individual notes, okay, but the chords, they're lost. They need to be bigger, same. All right, yeah. By the time I got here, the trumpet solo. Like, dude, my ears are tired, you know? They're tiring. Like maybe I would say, again, just my subjective opinion, maybe like blunt that horn a little bit, like you know, the modern version of it, the John Mayer style. Like his horns, you know, they're not piercing you. They're mellow, you know, mellow it out, you know, just what I say to this to my cat all the time. Back up. And just back up. Yeah, there, right there. They have a note where I'm like, this is what we want it to sound like. Right there. The note at 4 minutes and 13 seconds. This is what we want to hear. What I want to hear. Back up. And I mean, you know, at times that happens. Like if you have somebody that plays on your album and you really want to showcase their talent, like what you want to do is make that part louder, you know? It's just natural. Or like this person who played trumpet, I don't know, it might have been somebody famous, I'm sorry. Like they're obviously very talented. They are contributing their time to your project. You want to like show them off. Turn it up, you know, turn it up. a lot. But in this case, I would say, dude, back it up. Just back it up. It's great. We could still hear it, just back it up. And then I had to take a break, because that's one thing you want to do if your ears are starting to get tired. Don't exhaust yourself, because then you'll be confused. The tiredness of your ears will not allow you to have the same sort of clear hearing. So I took a break. I walked upstairs. I came back down after a while, and then I listened to track 10, The Dragonfly. And then I'm like, all right, fresh ears. The whole sounded better to me now, But I still have the same notes. And these are subtle things that I'm talking about, you guys. Nobody would notice these things unless they're obsessed with them, like me and Jack Douglas and anybody else who knows what the hell I'm talking about. Nobody's going to notice this, But I had the same notes. I would like more fullness on the riffs of the guitar, more air on the cymbals. The kick is fine, the vocal is fine, but I'm having to turn it almost all the way up to get those same effects that I want to have and feel on the guitars. But still, overall, great album. Maybe not as listened to. I don't know. Needs to get more attention as a Clutch album. It's got great stoner rock, great songs. Just needs a little bit of touch of modernization. And then I said, less Led Zeppelin, more Queens of the Stone Age. So then what I wanted to do is all right, if I'm going to be talking about this stuff and really giving my opinion, especially of somebody with such great notoriety, I need to pull up Led Zeppelin. I need to pull up Queens of the Stone Age and compare them to this and see if I'm just talking incorrectly, speaking incorrectly. So I pulled up Led Zeppelin 4 here, still same on Spotify, and this is the remaster. And I'm just there's no kick drum. There's no kick drum on that remaster on Spotify. Where is it? Was there a kick drum on the drum kit? You cannot freaking hear it. It's gone. I don't know what was happening there. So I already am critiquing the other things. So all right. So then, okay, we have our reference point there, right? So then I pulled up Songs for the Deaf by Queens of the Stone Age. This is an album I've listened to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times, so I know what it's going to sound like. I know what it should sound like on all variety of different speakers. And then overall, I noted that it was quieter than Elephant Riders. But what I did notice is that that album, Songs for the Deaf, is one solid piece. The instruments together are glued. They might as well have taken, in my mind, they took little guitar waveforms and they glued them to the drum and they glued the bass guitar and then they compressed the shit out of that and then they reverbed and then glued things some more. It is just one piece. Whereas Elephant Riders is naturally, this is not a critique of somebody's abilities, because what you want to do, as taught, is to have separation between all of the instruments so that you can hear them. So that's a common thing, On Elephant Riders, I would say overall, this is my guess. I don't know how it was really done, but I would say too much additive EQ presence-wise, 2K, 3K or something. Too much subtractive EQ in the mids and low mids. Not enough compression on the entire thing. And for the whole thing, I think the kick and the snare are too loud. Forgive me. That is my thought. That's my genuine thought. Yeah. So yeah. I mean, Queens of the Stone Age, I'll go back and do that album tomorrow. But it's like, loudness is different. When I turned up the Elephant Riders, I really could hear all of that stuff that I was saying. And then I went back to Queens of the Stone Age, exact same level of loudness. And the whole thing was quieter than the Elephant Riders. So it's like, okay, this is not about volume. But then when I turned up Songs for the Deaf, it's like, say it's like this, in a sausage. The whole sausage is exactly like this. Nothing changes. You know what I mean? Same, louder, and the same. But with Elephant Riders, it's like, okay, you've got what you're listening to. Then you turn it up, and all you hear is like more high EQ, more kick and snare. So, anyway, I wouldn't say that's like even necessarily a criticism. It's like something that I notice. Now, that's just like my personal preference, but other people might think that I'm totally wrong. I mean, they might. You might think I'm wrong. Tell me in the comments if you think I'm wrong and that this album sounds really great and it sounds like you want to hear and better, and I'm an idiot. Because, like, dude, I mean, who am I to criticize Jack Douglas, right? Like, I'm just a student. I don't know. Maybe I'll come to see myself one day. I think when you have teachers, I don't know if you ever like really look at yourself as being on their level, no matter what you've done. It's like you still sort of have that imposter syndrome. But yeah, I would be doing a disservice to him and his memory to not have gone through every single track like this and just, I mean, put it to you this way. I know this stuff and I was able to talk about this stuff and think about this stuff and do the things and say the things that I just did because he was a part of my life and he helped me understand this stuff. So there you have it, I think that's the ultimate in respect. I still love this stuff. I'm still just obsessed with it enough to even come back and like tell you what I think. So thank you, Clutch. Thank you, Jack Douglas, for making some great music. Thank you for being here, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this. It was really long. We're at like almost an hour and a half. But thank you for allowing me to like go through these memories. I want to do, more of his albums now. I guess we could do an Aerosmith album. Like, yeah, we'll see if they sound the same and that they have that same like Jack Douglas style. Does he have a style? That's the question now. Are we going to notice little things between the different bands that he continued to do? Given that they like are completely different people. Did he put his mark on these types of things? So, all right, you guys. Thank you so much. Tomorrow, I'll be back with one of my favorite albums of all time. I mean, it's hard to live up to this album, man. Queens of the Stone Age, Songs for the Deaf. I'll be back with that tomorrow. Genius album. So, until then.